It's time for the main event. It's the Spar-Inn podcast with your hosts, Puma and Fossil.
Oh, that's a knockout.
All right, cool. Here we are, the Spar-Inn Boxing Radio podcast. We have a special treat for our listeners. It's Puma and Fossil here with Alex El Toro Vargas. What's up, Alex?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on? He is if you're in Long Island or the New York metro area, you know who he is. Everyone else should be on notice. He's fighting at 140. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, 140 now. 135 days are done.
Yeah, it was hard making weight.
I just grew out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you were fighting amateur, you were heavier though, right?
Yeah, I just didn't do. I did like 165 for the Golden Gloves, and then I wasn't cutting weight at all.
Okay.
And then I went down to like 52. That's about it.
Yeah. So
What do you naturally walk at?
Like, I mean, I'm gonna say 175.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's still kind of like watching it too. I mean, I'm lower right now because I knew I have a fight coming up, so I've been cutting it down already to go into camp much lighter. So I'm way lighter right now.
That's
I'm
awesome.
175.
So being at 175 and in Long Island, obviously everyone knows the name Joe Smith Jr. Do you get sparring in with him? I think you still at heavy hitters or?
Yeah. I've been running into him a lot because he has this fight coming up. But we sparred before my last fight. Actually, we got a few rounds in with each other. I've known him since I was a little kid.
Yeah,
So.
that's awesome though.
Yeah.
That's good sparring too. That's probably why you're waxing everybody at the Paramount.
yeah, he can punch, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say
punch.
that was my next thing. You have a good chin, so that has a lot to do with it too. I'm
Yeah.
sure. And are you still with your pops? Is your pops still training?
Yeah, Pops is always there, always my trainer. But I
Okay.
also work with Andre Rozier and Gary
Awesome.
Stark, which I'm sure you guys know
Yeah.
who they are.
awesome.
So it's all three of us. It's been a little bit less with Dre and them now because the job, getting out to Brooklyn and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So more with my dad, but whenever I can, I'll meet up with Dre and Gary and do the thing with
awesome.
them.
You get those good shorts too, right?
No, I don't get the Havoc shorts because Dre, if you haven't heard already, like when you get shorts from him, it could be like fight night and it's 5 minutes till you have to walk to the venue and he's flying in and sprinting with your shorts.
He might hear this.
Damn.
He
For the
might
fight.
hear. He might hear
I
this.
tell him all the time. I tell him all the time that I will never get trunks from him because he's like, no, I got you, and then he's coming to one of my fights, flying in from like Cali
Yeah,
because he had
it's
to
all
drop
over.
trunks off. He knows what it is with that.
Yeah.
I make fun of him all the time, but yeah, that's typical Dre.
That's funny. He's doing good with that though, because you see him like
Yeah.
so many fighters. A lot of like the undercard fights on all platforms. You see Havoc. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah, everyone gets Havoc. It's always been a big thing, but it's if you want to be stressing out in the locker room, if you're gonna get the trunks or not, if you want to deal with that.
You don't want that. You don't want that on your mind. You don't want that on your
Yeah.
mind. So let's just talk a little about your background for those that don't know. We have we actually have for some reason we just started, but we have a California following. So
Okay.
you were in the amateurs, and correct me if I'm wrong. You were a 2-time junior Olympic champion,
Yes.
2-time junior Metro champion.
Yes.
Which is kind of like Golden Gloves now. It's like the new Golden Gloves Metros, right? Or
Yeah, they're doing like a ringmaster thing now.
Ringmasters.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were, speaking of Golden Gloves, in 2013, you were the 162-pound champion. I think.
165 it was at the
165.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mark Breland, Fighter of the Year. Or
Oh yeah. Fighter of the tournament. I forgot about that.
that's a
Oh,
good.
that's
That's a
dope, man.
Yeah.
that's a great title to have,
Oh,
especially
Yeah.
a New York
Yeah.
title like that.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
knows in the amateur ranks. And 2018 Golden Gloves as well. You were a finalist at 152, or
Yeah, that was at 152. I was a
That's-
finalist.
and then that obviously just parlayed into your pro, where you're undefeated. You're with Joe DeGuardia with Star Boxing.
Yep.
And everybody knows, I mean, especially in Suffolk and Nassau County, the Paramount and the shows that are
Yeah.
put on there,
Yeah.
and the El Toro shirts that are flying around over there.
Always.
So how did you get that nickname?
It was just when I was younger, I used to just brawl. I mean, I didn't really box. I was just going at it. I just
Yeah.
kind of felt like a bull. So then my dad kind kind of just threw it out there. And it kind of stuck. I never even thought about like nicknames, stuff like that. But just like kind of like, oh, you're El Toro. I'm like, okay. And then it just stuck. So that's what we have now. It's worked out though. It's gone well with the nickname.
Yeah,
Got
that's
T-shirts and stuff.
Sure. What year did you turn pro?
2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018.
2018.
And from at 2018, you won, or you were a finalist for Golden Gloves at 152, and then you just at pro you dropped to 135.
No, so my first fight was at like you do the catch weight. It was at 144.
Okay.
Then I started figuring out my body. I had like Dave Honig, Scooter, who does a lot of strength coach, helping me out with my diet. And the next thing you know, I was coming in at like 136. Like a few fights. I think it was like my sixth fight about there was when I was dropping down below 140.
Okay.
And then now it's just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Cutting weight is probably the hardest thing in any combat sport. That's the
it's miserable.
and especially now you're fighting. I see you got the New York Giants behind you. And football season.
Oh yeah.
It's pumpkin beer season, so it's
I know I won't be having that. I won't be having any of that.
yeah. So
it's my favorite too.
I know. in Long Island, I feel like pumpkin beer is like.
Yeah.
But and a little bit more about before you went pro. I know. So background real quick. I used to go to your, like I said, your dad's gym when he was in Patchogue because I lived up the road and we talk about you and stuff. And he said, he's like, oh, he's going to college before he's going pro. He's going to get a college degree before he's going pro. And that is so rare for a pro boxer, especially in boxing, to do. You're one of probably a handful to have a bachelor's degree. I think I read somewhere that it's like 20% have associate's degree, around 20% or maybe even less. It might be 15. And you're out here pro, undefeated, big name out here with a bachelor's degree. So that's crazy. That's an awesome accomplishment. Was when you were going to college though, were you still training? Were you staying in shape, or were you just it was college time?
So yeah, when my parents told me I had to go to college, get my degree, and not turn pro, I wasn't. I kind of just stopped boxing because, like, I went to Suffolk for 2 years. I was in and out with boxing because the schoolwork was a lot. It was a lot more than high school stuff like that. So then I was like, all right, let me focus on that. And then after my associates, because I didn't like school, I was like, I'd rather go to the military or something.
Yeah, who does?
But so whatever. Then I went to Cortland for 2 years, and that's when I just completely stopped because there was nothing up. I mean, there was one punching bag in the gym. It's just I just kind of like completely fell off with it.
You should have just went to Cortica.
You
could. There's a bunch of punching bags over there.
Yeah. I would have been undefeated up there.
yeah, for sure. For those that don't know, Cortica is a huge party. They canceled with 2 colleges up here. We're not gonna get into that, but they it's a wild time. You can figure the rest out.
So it was just tough, like just all like the schoolwork alone, like besides like it being freaking freezing up there and it just being really a party school, like I really wasn't going crazy like that, but it was just I just couldn't really focus on fighting. There was just so much schoolwork to keep up on. It was crazy, to just graduate. I'm like, this is nuts. And then, but I always told myself, I'm like, and all my roommates and stuff, I'm like, once I'm done, I'm telling you, I'm getting back. Like I was heavier, I was bigger there. I'm like, I'm getting right back into the boxing.
Was that break nice to get away from boxing for a while, or did you miss it?
I definitely missed it, but I think it was a good break. I think it like kept me kind of fresh because you keep fighting as an amateur. I mean, you're fighting the Golden Gloves alone is 5-6 fights, tournaments and staying on weight year round. It does get, it wears on you. So I think the break and then coming back and being motivated, like, all right, now it's time to get back and make a name for myself because I kind of lost the name. Like I made a name and I was like, who's this? Once I came back.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was my motivation. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to come back and make a name for myself again.
For sure.
So now another accomplishment you have outside of boxing before we get into your pros and your next fight and stuff is you are actually a police officer as well, which is more rare than college in boxing. There's not many of them in there. And were you were already pro before you went to the academy and stuff, correct?
Yeah, I was already 10 fights in, I think, when
Oh,
I went to the
wow.
academy.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, 10
So,
fights in.
so what was the behind that? Were you just like, I need a steady income, like I need, or what was? Did you always want to be a police officer? How did it come to that?
Yeah, it was a lot of things behind it. I mean, boxing, obviously, it's hard to make it. It's a hard lifestyle.
Yeah,
It's very demanding, and I want something after boxing.
yep,
And on top of it, I always wanted to be a police officer for
that's
Suffolk
awesome.
County, but it's so hard to get in. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of like I
yeah,
mean,
it's something.
it took me 3 years to just get called to start processing.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
they
when they
have.
got the call, I was like, oh shoot, this is like a career now. Like
Right.
this is
Yeah,
retirement,
Yeah.
benefits, pension, everything that boxing doesn't give you.
Right.
yep.
You're doing it.
Which they should, but
Yeah.
they.
Yeah.
They
You would think,
absolutely
right?
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, for everything you put into the sport and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, if not, I would have went another route. I always want to have like a steady job where I had
Yeah,
something
no,
to fall back
that's
on.
smart.
Sure.
But I just got lucky with the police department calling
Yeah.
me and then passing everything, and
I
then
think it's like they pick
yeah,
names out of a hat, basically. Like you pass the
yeah,
test,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then like,
So
like that's
if
crazy.
you got a 95, I think there were whatever, like let's say 6,000 95s. They pull out of a hat. It's literally the lottery.
Yeah,
Oh,
So
you're for real?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
I
didn't know.
swear to
I
God.
thought
I
you were.
swear
I
to
thought
God.
you were joking. Okay.
They
Okay.
no, no. I swear to
Yeah.
God, it's called the lottery. So once you get 95, they're like, oh, in this state, we're gonna go live and pull hats. But I mean, pull names from a hat,
Oh
and it
shit.
goes in that
Crazy.
order.
Oh, it's
Wow.
So it
actually a
goes on.
hat.
Yeah. Whatever they do, they turn this thing.
Yeah,
It's intense, and you watch it for like hours.
that's
And I'm like,
crazy.
and if you're not like within the top 2,000, like you're not getting a call. So I was like 4,800,
That's crazy.
but I forgot that if you were bilingual, you got put on a separate list.
Oh,
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm never getting called for this job. The next thing you know, I get the letter in the mail. I'm like,
wow.
what? And I was like, oh shoot, I'm bilingual, so I had to pass it like a Spanish speaking test.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
then I got lucky with that actually.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
So yeah, that's how it
speaking,
worked.
speaking of that too, another you're literally the Dos Equis man. Like I think it was I read somewhere that you were in Colombia to learn or to get better, I guess, at learning the language or
Yeah, so once I graduated college, I went right to Colombia. I forgot for how long. I went to get I forgot what it's called, international languages certificate, something like
okay.
that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
went to study a little bit, the Spanish language and uh, get my certificate in that. So yeah, I did do that right after
That's awesome.
I graduated college.
Did you pop in any gyms over there or was it just strictly I mean it is, that obviously they do have good fighters out there, but it's not their amateur fighters are actually really good. It's just
Yeah.
not as the gyms aren't obviously like an American gym or a built-up country's gym. But did you pop in any over there and see anything, or?
No, like at that time, I still was like not back in boxing.
Yeah,
Like
you were just.
I just graduated. I
Yeah.
was like, let me go do this, and still more schoolwork. So
Yeah,
I would work out there, but I never went to. I don't think I went to any box. Just a
Yeah.
regular gym. But that
Okay.
was it.
That's still a great experience though. Like nobody can say that, oh, I was in Colombia for X amount of years or whatever, X amount
Yeah,
of
it was
months.
it was cool because it wasn't like in a resort or anything.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was staying at family's house and then walking from there, taking the bus.
That's awesome.
It was neat to like learn
Yeah.
and see. I was scary,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like cool to like see how they do things over there and travel around and
What part of
be
Colombia
on your
was it?
own. Ah man, it's a smaller.
It wasn't like, was it like Medellin area?
No, it was like
No.
a really small. It was a smaller town. It was like gloomy. The sun didn't come out.
Oh wow.
It was it was like it was a rough spot to be in. I
So
forgot where
it
they
wasn't like
sent me.
beautiful looking, right?
No, not where I was. It was just close. It was just close to that university that was known for like the languages. It was a good school, so I went.
Gotcha.
In that area. I forgot. Man, I forgot the name. It's driving me nuts, but I forgot.
All right, so now that you're back in boxing, right? You're like obviously you have your other job. You're still with Suffolk. Are
Yeah.
are they lenient with you? Like, are you like
that's a
do
good
they
question.
give you like? I know you guys have a decent schedule, but are they? That's a demanding job in itself. But do
Yeah, it is. I have really good bosses, so obviously I'm still going to work and stuff. They know I'm in training, so if we get a call, at the end of tour,
Yeah, yeah.
they'll usually be like, "Hey, listen, like I know you got to go train. Um, you know, we could have someone else, maybe do paperwork." I'm like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Like this is my job. Like I'll
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
Like it doesn't happen often. It happened today.
I'm sure.
Um,
I'm sure the old heads are like this mother effer.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
it's-
so they're good though. Like the week of my fight, I took off the whole week to get the
yeah,
weight down,
yeah, of course.
cut, and then they all came. I mean, they all came. My whole
Yeah,
squad,
that's
bosses
awesome.
came.
yeah.
So they're
That's
really
dope.
good. They're really supportive about it, and
Yeah,
they
that's
like it.
good.
So
That's
it's
good to
good.
have, and it's a good eye on them. You're out there doing obviously all the cops and kids, like NYPD cops and kids, all the PALs.
Right.
Yeah,
Boxing
yeah,
is actually big in the police cop culture, so that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, definitely.
And going forward though, so there's another Long Island fighter, and I know that this there used to be like some weird, I don't know if it was fake or whatever beef, and you probably know the name I'm gonna say. Cletus Selden, because
Yeah,
I was at one of the fights at the Paramount and he was there and you won. It was a while ago and like you guys
yeah,
were
I
shouting
remember.
out.
Yeah,
Is that still going on? Is there still?
it never stopped for me. Like I always wanted to fight him. Um,
That's
it
awesome.
definitely wasn't fake. I still want to get in the ring with him. I just
Yeah,
don't know what he's doing. Um,
I think
I
he's
know he's
trained.
not. He's always training. He's not with
Yeah.
Star anymore.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, ever since like we sparred, I was like that would be like that perfect Long
Yeah.
Island matchup.
Yeah. Because
And
he has a big following too out here in Long Island. So
he has a big following. He was up there in the rankings at
yep.
least, and that
Yeah.
would have been a huge,
Yeah.
win to get for me. So I really wanted that fight. It's just, I mean, he hasn't been active, but yeah, if I could still get that fight,
That's awesome.
I'm all for it.
Jump on it.
Because I was at one of
Yeah.
his fights too. I think it might have been at the Hulu Theater.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't even know who he was at the time. He was on the
Yeah.
undercard of a fight I was at, and
Yeah.
I just remember like, you could see if someone's from like Long Island. There's a
Yeah.
certain like look and
Yeah, yeah.
accent, I guess, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, there's a lot of Long Island dudes here. And then
Yeah.
he came out, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. This was years ago, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know he's in Westbury all the time, so maybe we could get some rounds in again at least
yeah,
sparring.
yeah. I know he
Because
he
I head
trains
over
there
there.
still. He trains
Yeah,
there
so
still.
yeah. So
Do you go to the city a lot and you get good sparring there? And if so, who? If you could say who's in your normal sparring rotation?
yeah. Like I said, I got to figure out the schedule coming up. I would love to because that's the best work out there.
Yeah,
But I know actually Richardson Hitchens. I've been trying out to go out
yeah,
to spar him again.
yeah.
I sparred him for years. But he's fighting Cepeda,
Yep.
who's a southpaw.
That's a huge
Right.
fight
So
for him.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out there on Saturday. But usually I'm sparring Chris Colbert out there,
Yep.
Yep.
Richardson Hitchens, Jahai Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean Sergey Derevyachenko, all those guys. It's
Yeah.
just that gym is just stacked. So I've been in the
Yep.
ring with literally all of those guys.
That's
Some
awesome.
good competitors.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, 100%.
iron sharpens iron, and you're all
Yeah.
coming up. But I will say, based on all the life accomplishments you have in the boxing game, all the guys you named, you're besides like Derevyachenko, but you're much older than you're a
Yeah.
young guy, but in boxing you're
Yeah.
an old man. So what is
Yeah.
your plan? What's next for you?
So I have my fight October 28th, which they haven't announced it yet, which title it's going to be for. What I heard, it's going to be either the WBA International or the WBO Intercontinental. So I win that. That's when that
So
just
it's
shoots you up
time.
the
Yeah.
rankings, and then after that, like that's when I want to be in the ring with these
Yeah.
guys that are,
So that's what I was
um,
getting at. I was like, 28 in boxing, it's like the clock is ticking. And
yeah,
and you did the right thing because it's a short window, obviously, a very
Right.
short window. It's just now you have to, get up, like what you just said, what your plan and what is supposed to happen. That's awesome, and that's
Yeah.
great. So
it was tough because when I was 26, that was my last fight, and things got going. Like I was getting calls, to go out to Rolly's camp and
yeah,
spar with them and get things going and get on bigger cards. But then I got called for the academy.
yep,
So then from that was 7 months alone, and then you have another, I forgot how many months of training once you get out on patrol. So I wasn't able to fight from 26, and I turned 27 in academy. And I turned 28 before my last fight. So it flew like that. So now it's like, luckily we had a fight, and then we're right into a title fight that could shoot me up the rankings and really get me on a bigger card against some of these bigger guys I've been in the ring with, and I know I could fight with them.
So in a sense, this is a must-win.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Definitely.
So that's awesome.
Right.
We'll be there.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be there.
Yeah, sounds good.
What do you want to ask him about the
yes.
pre-fight rituals or something?
Yeah. So what do you like? What's your pre-fight rituals? How do you prepare yourself mentally? More so mentally than physically.
Is there any like what's it called? Like how pitchers in baseball have the same thing they
Yeah,
do?
I
forget the word.
I know what you're talking about.
There's a word for it, but
I'm trying to think.
Like,
I mean, there's things I do every time. I mean,
like, is there a meal? Is there a certain meal you eat every night before a fight? Like a same meal every night before a fight?
I changed it up. I was doing pasta, and then now I kind of went to like a smaller steak.
Yeah.
Because
Pasta's a little
that's
heavy.
what my nutritionist told me. Like,
sure.
he's like, no, I want you to eat this and eat that. So I did that. But I always go to like the same spot by me. It's a place called Porter's. They sponsor me. They're good. And
good.
then it's a good spot. And then I wake up. Actually, I do have a few rituals. I go to Toast in Patchogue with my sister, actually. That's just been a thing we've been doing for a while.
I'm a buttermilks guy, but Toast is
I've
good.
never tried it. I've never tried it.
Buttermilks is.
I will try it, not before the fight.
Yeah,
but I will try it.
definitely not before the fight.
Yeah, because then then I do have those things. Because if I change it up, I get all jacked up.
Do you sleep well before the big fight?
Yeah, I pass out. Yeah,
really? Damn.
It's weird. Like all week I can't sleep because I'm cutting weight, and
Right.
you're hungry and thirsty, and you have everything, all the stress going on and pressure.
Sure.
And then once I weigh in, it's kind of like chill from there. Like I go out with a big group. Actually, we go to Porter's for dinner. It's like it's been me, my dad, a bunch of friends, like the team, and it's just kind of like enjoying everything and taking the moment in. And then once I get home, it's just I watch some TV and then I just pass out. I sleep good. I sleep fine.
You're in that zen, because that's a big part of it.
Yeah, like I tell my mom all the time, like my dad, like I just want to enjoy it, like
enjoy the moment.
Enjoy it. Like now, being the main event and stuff, and getting more like recognition. And
right. You know what?
Selling
too,
out the venue is just like I just want to take it all in, and have fun with it.
For sure.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think too with you having that such a successful life, basically that you worked for, obviously outside of the ring,
for sure.
You're like, okay, if this isn't for me, I have that to fall back on. So that could probably help you. That could be a
I feel like I have more fun with it now.
Yeah, right.
Where like before it was like, this is all I'm doing. You gotta win every fight, and
got all your eggs in one basket.
That's it. Now it's like I get to enjoy it more. And people sometimes look at it as like, oh, they lose their hunger when they have something else going on. Like I don't look at that like that. Like I still work just as hard. I still have the same mentality. It's just I'm able to have more fun with it because, like, I know about the other things I have going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to have because a lot of fighters don't have that, and obviously, But now it also puts you in a little bit of a different spot. Whereas someone's younger, you're like, oh, it's now or never in boxing for me. So, but still, it's pros and cons to both. But speaking of working as hard, I know you did something. I forget who put it out there a while ago. It was like some run every hour. What was that?
I did the David Goggins challenge. So what you do is you run
this is crazy.
4 miles. You run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. I did that.
Damn.
Every 4 hours. Like,
that was that was tough. It was like, I remember my boy. I had my boy, one of my best friends, like, because I'd run at midnight.
Yeah.
So he'd wake me up and it'd be pitch black, so he'd follow me in the car. Come back, it'd be 4 a.m. again, going out again, doing it again.
Damn,
it was like cold, but I just like doing all those things that challenge me, like even if it's like a little bit too much on the body, sometimes like these things help me mentally, like in a fight.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, when
for
I'm
sure.
tired,
Of
like I
course.
know I've ran a marathon, or I've sparred these rounds, or I know
Yeah.
I've done crazy things like that I can push through. So it's more of a mental thing that I like doing those crazy things for.
If
No,
if
no.
I run 4 miles once, check me in the hospital just once, not
For
every
real.
every 4 hours. Just give me 4 miles once. I'll see you later.
I got a weird question for you. So
Yeah.
I had like 4 amateur fights, right? When I
Mhm.
was younger, I fought at 132 pounds. The biggest issue for me was, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like feeling scared, like just like the fear of the unknown. Now
Yeah.
I see your record. You had a crazy amateur career. Now, does that feeling ever go away, of that, like that uncertainty feeling?
Yeah, it's always like a fear, I guess, not of your opponent necessarily. It's
Right,
just
right.
everything else around it. Like, you know, one is the pressure. Like, you want to perform under
Yes.
pressure. Like,
Yes.
I know I have like the entire job knowing I fight now. I know I'm fighting in my hometown where, you know, everyone's there watching you, and there's an after party set up for
Yeah.
you, and like you don't want to ruin all of that, you
Right,
know.
right. Yeah.
Then on top of it, it's like the actual aspect of the fight. Like, yeah, you can be winning every round, but people don't realize 8-ounce gloves, no headgear. Anybody can put you out
Oh,
with
bro.
any shot. Like,
Right, right.
though, it's such a difference from the amateurs. Like, it could be a smaller guy, it could be a slower guy. You know, he could not hit you the entire fight, and he just lands that one good punch, and that's it.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
all it takes is one punch.
yeah. So it's like more of a fear of like, yeah, like the unknown, like wanting to perform, wanting to not get caught. You know, just fight smart,
Right.
and all of those things. Not like of your opponent or anything. That's, you
Yeah, right.
prepare for that, but everything around it, yeah, 100%. There's that fear.
Does it ever get better? Like, as you progress, like as you have more fights, or you always feel that what you just said?
I always feel it. I think in different ways now. When it comes to like the fighting, I'm getting more comfortable in the pro ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it took some guys adapt right away. It took me a little bit to adapt to the smaller gloves and the headgear and
Also,
all of that.
your nickname's El Toro, so you're out there just wailing, and it's funny
Yeah.
because you're actually slick in there now. You're like a
Well,
slick,
that's why. Well, most people are like that. That should your nickname should have been like the Matador or something,
yeah,
not El
it's
Toro.
like, yeah,
So,
you're like a slick
but
boxer.
yeah, but I've gotten more comfortable in the pro ring. Now it's just more of the fear of, you know, letting people down.
Yeah,
With
right.
everyone knowing, like I said, the job knowing, I don't want to let the job
Yeah.
down. I don't want to let
For
my family
sure.
down, myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin an after party. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like even the smallest things. You
Yeah,
know,
I'll be there,
even
man.
if you
No matter what,
perform,
I'll be
yeah,
there.
yeah.
They gotta change the cake and everything.
Yeah. So,
know?
but usually by that time, you know, once you have all of those weeks of training, it does settle down, that feeling, because now you start peaking in camp. You're sparring
Yeah.
with all these guys, and you're
Mhm.
feeling good.
Yeah.
That it does settle down. It's more towards the beginning,
Yeah.
where you're like, all right, I'm signing a contract now. Yeah, I got to get the weight down,
Yeah.
get back into sparring, this and
Mhm.
that. But yeah, it's always going to be that. And I think that's for any fighter, no matter what they say. There's
Yeah.
always that feeling.
Out of so at your weight at 140, that's like right now that's the hottest division in boxing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm a huge Tiafimo guy, even though
Me
he
too.
didn't do an interview with us, but that's all right. Still a little obsessed. It's all good.
Yeah.
Out of the big 4 names, I guess it's Regis Prograis, Tiafimo, Matias, Subriel Matias,
Yeah.
Devin
and
Haney.
Devin Haney now too is at 140.
Yeah.
Who do you see yourself faring the best against?
Who was that? That was Tiafimo. You said Devin Haney,
Yeah,
Regis.
Regis.
Um,
I think Subriel Matias is that guy is like nobody's calling him out. I'll put it.
no
that
one wants
way.
to fight that guy. Yeah.
Or Regis Prograis too is up there. Regis Prograis.
Regis is another one. Who would I fare the best against stylistically? I don't know, man. Tiafimo.
Yeah, you think
I like Tiafimo, but I think stylistically, like, we'd kind of it'll
You
be
know-
a fun little match. I know a bunch of dudes that have been in the ring with him too.
yeah.
So I think that would be the best
This-
one. I was supposed to spawn him a few times for camp too, and then things fell through with
Yeah.
work and stuff. So
Yeah.
Oh
that
man,
sucked. But
That
They
being
were,
said, I'm like the Tiafimo fanboy.
Yeah,
Ask anyone
yeah.
there
It gets
knows
annoying
that.
after a while.
Yeah.
But you know what? You will if you verse him. I'm on you, man. That's
for
it.
sure.
You be the first one.
Yeah.
First interview, and the first time
Yeah.
Nick's not rooting for Tio. That
Yeah.
is crazy.
I would like one of those names, but like I said, after this,
Yeah,
I'm
focus
trying
on.
to think of some names. Definitely focus on my guy.
I mean,
Obviously
Ryan
looking to
Garcia.
win, but there's guys,
Of
yeah,
course.
like there's guys under that top echelon
Yeah.
that you'd have to fight to get there, and I'm
Of
trying to
course.
think of names of guys like that.
I mean,
Um,
honestly, Rolly's one of them. Rolly's a name
Rolly.
that's a money fight too.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah, that is a
that's
money fight.
Surprising,
That is a
yeah,
money
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
And
So,
with you being a cop, that would
yeah, oh
build
yeah,
up. The build up
he
to
would,
that.
Yeah,
he would be
that would be great.
violating every he would be violating every cop in the country.
Yeah, that
Any
would,
way he can. It would be a good one. All the cops
Yeah.
from every state would show up to that. That would
Hey,
definitely sell.
Yeah, he's very entertaining.
Yeah. Oh
get
yeah.
through this. But since I just had that idea, if your promoter's listening, I want a piece of that.
Yeah. We'll get it going.
But yeah, I mean, you have anything else? I think that's it. We could talk about your fight coming up real quick.
Yeah.
He's a guy from Pittsburgh. He has a few losses, 3 losses. I know
Yeah.
not Pittsburgh, but Pennsylvania. And you
Yeah.
know what? Anyone from Pennsylvania is tough. We
Yeah,
know like
right.
that's not an easy place to grow up a fight in.
Yeah.
I have actually a question regarding that. So
Yeah.
on these like smaller cards, like at the Paramount and stuff, is it hard preparing for a fight like this guy when there's not much video on them? Like how do you study for a specific fighter when there really sometimes there isn't much out there, or do you just go in and wing it like in the amateurs?
Yeah, he doesn't have much video, but there are good solid videos of full fights with him. Like
Okay.
when he fought on Tyson Fury undercard
Yep.
against Wilder, he fought Gabriel Flores.
Yep.
Um,
That was one of his.
that went to full fight, so I got to watch that. There were a few other ones where he fought on like the ESPN undercard. So there's enough. I think the 10 rounds is good for me, even though I've
Yeah.
never been 10. I've never been 8. And he has, but I
Yeah.
do like more time. I am adaptive, like
Yeah.
I feel like looking at him, he's very one way, the way he fights. I've only seen him fight one way. And he's tough. He's going to make you work. He's
Yeah.
going to make you work for it.
Yeah.
He keeps coming forward. But I think like I just have too many different tools
Yeah.
that I'll be able to use once I, get the range down after a few rounds and stuff like that. But he's definitely going to be a tough fight. I think I have the size advantage too. He's fought much smaller
Yep.
than me. I think I'll rehydrate a lot more.
What do you average coming in at, if you don't mind me asking?
I put on a good amount of weight.
Okay.
Just say that. I put on a good amount of weight.
All right. I mean, that's it. That's all I got. That fight's October 28th, I believe, or 29th, is it?
Yeah, October 28th, Saturday, and then we really get going on Monday. Really pick it up.
At the Paramount. So that's a little Halloween thing too. You think people can be dressed up as bulls for El Toro?
Maybe I have a few people that actually go with the bullhorns every fight.
I've seen
that. They're just walking around with bullhorns, just hysterical. So we'll see if more pull up with that. But obviously they're gonna be coming with the shirts, and
Okay.
it's probably gonna sell out again. So
we're definitely gonna be there. I love anything in Huntington. Huntington's a fun time. You're gonna make it, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% gonna be there. That's all I got. If you got anything you want to shout out or plug or whatever, go ahead. I mean,
that's really it, and just
All right.
same thing.
Andre-
Thank to everybody on my team, my family. That's it. It's just time to take another one and take first title home.
There you go.
All right, there you have it.
Absolutely.
Alex El Toro Vargas, our first interview too. Thank you so much for that.
Appreciate you.
Local Long
Thanks for
Island
having
guy. Yep. Tiafimo, you curved us, but he's here. See, man, we're ready. So, that being said, man, thank you so much for having us this interview with us. This is the Spar-Inn Boxing Podcast. Everyone go check out Alex in Huntington.
October 28th.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, man. Take care.
You too.